In 1999, two young engineers from Microsoft walked into Sony's corporate headquarters in Tokyo with a business proposal. They had an idea for an entertainment device that would connect television to the internet, enable online multiplayer gaming, and create a digital entertainment hub for the living room. They wanted Sony to build it with them. Sony said no. The two engineers were Bachus and Seamus Blackley. The device they were proposing would eventually become the Xbox, and Sony's decision to reject them in 1999 is one of the most consequential business decisions of the 21st century. A single meeting that changed the global gaming industry, Microsoft's trajectory as a company, and cost Sony a competitive position it has never fully recovered. To understand why Sony said no, you have to understand what Sony was in 1999. The PlayStation had launched in 1994 and had dominated the gaming market so completely that Sega had essentially collapsed and Nintendo had been reduced to a niche player. Sony was not just winning the gaming market, they were the gaming market. The PlayStation brand was the most powerful consumer electronics brand on the planet. The PlayStation 2 was in development and was expected to be the most successful gaming console ever made. From that position of dominance, the Microsoft proposal looked trivially small. Why would the dominant player in gaming need to partner with a software company to build a gaming device? Sony's executives saw the proposal, evaluated it against their position of market strength, and dismissed it as unnecessary. They were evaluating the wrong question. The question was not whether Sony needed Microsoft's help to make a gaming device. Sony could obviously make a gaming device without Microsoft. The question was whether allowing Microsoft to build a competing gaming device was strategically acceptable. It was not, but Sony's rejection did not prevent Microsoft from building the Xbox. It simply meant Microsoft built it as a competitor rather than a partner. The Xbox launched in 2001, the same year as PlayStation 2. In the United States, the Xbox outsold PlayStation 2 within its first 6 weeks. Microsoft established a foothold in the American gaming market that they have never relinquished. More importantly, Microsoft built Xbox Live, the first successful online gaming subscription service, which established the template for recurring revenue in gaming that now defines the entire industry's economics. Here is what $15 billion represents in this context. Gaming industry analysts have estimated that the subscription revenue and game sales that Microsoft's Xbox division has generated over the 25 years since launch represents approximately $15 to $20 billion in value that would otherwise have remained in the gaming market without a Microsoft competitor. Some estimates are higher. The exact number is debated. What is not debated is the direction. Sony's refusal to partner with Microsoft created a competitor who captured enormous market value that Sony could have captured or prevented. But the real cost is not the revenue Sony lost to Xbox. The real cost is what Xbox forced PlayStation to become. Before Xbox Live launched subscription gaming, there was no recurring revenue in the gaming console market. You bought the console. You bought the game. The transaction was complete. PlayStation's business model was hardware manufacturing and software licensing. Margins were decent. Growth was tied to console cycles. After Xbox Live demonstrated that gamers would pay monthly fees for online access, Sony was forced to build PlayStation Network and eventually PlayStation Plus. The costs of building, maintaining, and competing in subscription gaming added billions of dollars to Sony's operating expenses at precisely the time when their margins from hardware were already under pressure. Sony built a business they did not choose to be in because Microsoft forced the strategic environment to require it. The pattern continues. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard in 2023, the largest acquisition in gaming history at $75 billion, directly threatens PlayStation's position by potentially moving beloved franchises like Call of Duty toward Xbox exclusive or Xbox favorable distribution. Sony fought the acquisition in regulatory courts worldwide. They fought it not because they objected to consolidation in principle, but because they recognized that their competitive position could not survive losing key third-party titles to a well-funded competitor with exclusive distribution leverage. The Sony leadership that rejected the Microsoft proposal in 1999 made a rational decision based on the information available at the time. They were the dominant player. They did not need a partner. Their refusal was not stupid. It was the natural response of a company too comfortable in its dominance to imagine that a software company from Seattle could build a competitive gaming platform. But arrogance at scale has a specific and severe cost. The cost is the creation of a competitor who builds not just a competing product, but an entire competing ecosystem. One designed from the beginning to defeat you, funded by one of the most profitable software businesses in history, and motivated by the very rejection that created it. The Xbox exists because Sony said no, and the gaming industry that exists today, with its subscription models, its cloud gaming ambitions, its multi-billion-dollar acquisitions, was shaped in large part by a single meeting in a Tokyo boardroom that Sony's executives remember as unremarkable, and that Microsoft's engineers remember as the moment they decided to build one of the most successful entertainment platforms in history.